Hey guys, my name is George and welcome to this new Android tutorial. What we're going to do today is that we're going to learn how to handle click events on our Android application. Now for that I'm going to create a new project which I'm going to call click events, just like that, click events. This is going to be a practice for us to learn how to handle those clicks on our applications. Now I'm going just to click on next on everything, and at the end, okay, I'm going to wait for Gradle to build my application. You know, this Android Studio and all things getting a little bit commonly used by developers. So I hope you guys like Android Studio. It's really awesome. Okay. So the first thing that we can see over here is our fragment layout, which is basically this hello world text view over here. I'm going to leave that for now. What I really want to do is that I'm going to say that this text view is going to have an ID, so we can actually reach it later. I'm going to show you how. I'm going to say Android ID is going to be equals to, okay, sorry for that, it's going to be equals, I really hate typing on these things, to my text view. So that's going to be the ID of this text view, and after that I'm going to create a button so we can actually have an element that can trigger click events. So I'm just going to go ahead and type in button over here, and this button is obviously going to have an ID. We need that for the program to work, so it's going to have an ID, and I'm going to call it button number 1, for example. This is really a stupid name, I think. The text for this button is going to be button, and I'm also needed to specify a width and height. So I'm just going to go ahead and type in layout width, and width when I use match parent, no, not that, wrap content is going to be necessary, and also the height of my button is going to be wrap content. So basically this button will be the size of the text that is contained inside it, so that's basically what you can see over there. I also want to put it below the hello world, so I'm going to go ahead and put above, no, there is layout below, and I'm going to refer to my text view. So for that we have this button below this text view. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the layout. Now for the programming of this code, what we need to do, I need to close this tag. Okay, now to program this click event on this button, what I need to do now is that I need to go to my fragment. Now since I believe since Android 3, I think, by default all the projects create fragments. In Android, if you use Android Studio, you will have a fragment and an activity created by default. Now you need to go to the fragment below here. So if you go to Java and then you open your main activity, you will see your activity in the top side of your code, of your file, and if you go below you will see this placeholder fragment, which basically loads this content, this layout over here. So what you need to do is that you need to go to the fragment, which is the placeholder fragment by default, or your activity if you are using one, and you need to implement a interface that is called onClick event. Okay, Onclicklistener, I'm sorry. So this Onclicklistener basically extends from the view class over here, so you will need obviously to import that. So, and also you will need to implement some methods. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to implement the methods of the click listener. So I'm going to go ahead and click start, and the method that you need to implement is basically called onClick. And onClick, as you can see, it has a parameter that is basically the view that triggers this click event. and when that view is obviously triggered, you can access the ID of that view, so you can know which view was the one that triggered your event, and you can also execute some code. So what I'm going to do over here is that in this onClick method, I'm going to say switch, and switch is basically going to be a integer number which is going to be the ID of that view. So I'm going to put b.getID, which is the view that triggered the event, so we can get its ID, and inside the switch instruction I'm going to use case, and the first case is going to be R, which is for resources. I'm going to use ID, and I'm going to say button number 1. So that's my first button that I created, and basically what this does is that I click my button number 1, which is this one over here. As you can see, I will basically execute some code. So that's basically what we're talking about. Now after we create we use this code, what we need to do, since we are in a fragment, I will use this root view as a way to access my views. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this declaration over here. I'm going to create my root view inside the fragment class. So I'm going to say view root view. I'm going to declare it over here so we can access it not only from the onCreate view statement but also from the onClick event. And after that, what I want to do is that inside here I will access this root view to find another view, which is going to be r.id.myTextView now. So that's what I'm going to do now, and inside over here I'm going to set a text which is going to be, it's just going to be you clicked the button. Okay, now since this is a standard view, you need to specify that this is basically a text view, so you can use the setText method. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to typecast over here this view as a text view. So basically this will allow this code to execute. And now what we need to do is that we need to register the click events on our button. Now for that, what you need to do is that on the create method, on the create view method inside our fragment, after we inflate our root view with the fragment that we just created over here with this layout, now we can access the buttons and elements, whichever elements we have over here. So for that, what you need to do is that after you inflate that root view, after you create basically your layout inside this big activity using this fragment, now you can access I can create a button over here. Basically it's going to be button. I'm going to import the button class. Just press Alt Enter, and after that I'm going to call root view, and I'm going to use find view by ID, and I'm going to call R plus ID and then button number 1. Now with that we can access the button over here. I'm going to specify that this is a button. Okay, and you can use button dot set onClicklistener, and go ahead and for the first parameter you can type in this. Now this basically stands for a class, in this case this fragment, that can implement the Onclicklistener interface. Now this means that basically this fragment is going to be listening for click events, and when that does happen, we're going to execute the onClick method. However, the elements that can trigger those click events basically need to have this method set over here, set onClicklistener. This, if you have that, now you're ready to execute this code and see what happens. So I'm going to execute this program over here, which is a really simple program. I'm going to wait for my debugger to load. This is going to take a while, so I'm going to go ahead and fast forward the video so I can show you. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward the video so you can see the current program running. So I'm going to load a virtual device, an emulator, Nexus 7, press OK, and I'm going to wait. Hey guys, so I finally managed to load the emulator. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on button, and as you can see over here you clicked at the button. So basically what happened is that this button over here, it triggered a event which is a click event, and when that happened we executed this code that we wrote over here so we can actually change the text on our text view over here. So I hope you guys really liked this tutorial. If you did, don't forget to click on the like button. You can also leave a comment. You can subscribe to my channel. I will really appreciate that. And if you would like to see more videos, well, you can also comment which kind of videos would you like to see on my channel so I can do a better work on this programming thing on YouTube. So thank you guys for watching, and see you on the next video. Bye bye.